Chase is here, obviously, and he's got a lot of information which he can share with us because not only is he a current member of the Chicago Bears, he has played with and for, wait for it, the New Orleans Saints when they won a Super Bowl. He's been a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's been a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Gee, if only if any of those teams were in the postseason, we might try and tap into all that information. So we'll get into the playoff teams again, and we'll go forward there. But obviously there were big expectations for your team, the Chicago Bears. They fell flat this year after going 12-4 last year and coming this close to moving on to the championship round in the NFC last year with the double doink of the kick by Cody Parkey. So just in your estimation, what went wrong with the Bears this year?
Yeah, I just think, there's a lot of things. The first thing I would say overall would be just regression in all phases. And, if you look at, I was talking to some guys last night, if you look at the overarching theme of the season, it'd be regression. However, if you actually look at it and break it down game by game, there's really like 20 plays in a 16-game season that we want back. Those 20 plays go opposite. You could be 13-3, 12-4. And so the first year in 2018 with Nagy, all those plays went for us. It seemed like all those plays this year went against us. So as you know, football's a game of inches, and just really wasn't our year this year.
And people will say, "Oh, give me a break on that," but you're absolutely right. There's a great, I can't remember who did it, but if they flipped all the one-score games in the NFL this regular season, instead of the games that they lost by 8 points or less turned into a game they won by 8 points or less, the records are like the Cowboys would have been 13-3 if they had just flipped the one-score games.
Listen, we see this all the time, especially the next day in film when everybody sits there like gas bags like us do nowadays and talk about that one play. We sit and film the next day and say, well, no, there was that play and there was that play and there was that play that could have turned the tables around. Obviously a big amount of the talk was the quarterback position and Mitch Trubisky. Going back from college to just having the 13 starts, so the progression going into not having a lot of experience in college to now the next step. Now that's going to be the next step, right? Is the progression of where a quarterback is and progressing into their third, fourth, fifth year. What do you see there?
Yeah, I see, especially really in the last 10 games of the year, really starting the Detroit Lions game at home. I just thought there was something that came over him that he played a lot better than he did maybe the first 4 or 5 or 6 games of the year. It's a tough offense to get down, and I tell people all the time, you have to play. There's nothing like experience in an offense. So the more he plays, he was banged up a little this year with his shoulder, all sorts of stuff. So we're looking forward to it. I know he is just chomping at the bit to get back to work, and he's looking forward to it.
Well, I think along those lines too, a guy who likes to use his legs, all of a sudden you get your shoulder while it's his non-throwing shoulder. You still don't want to get hit there and fall on it, so it may stop you from running as much. And I know there are a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, change the coach, it's not working." What you said there, the third year in it, to be and not have to start because you've been around this game a while, to have to restart with a whole new system. Yeah. Very difficult. So the fact that he gets to go that third year with Nagy, I think is huge.
Well, and let's stay on Nagy for a second, Chase, because a lot of our film guys were talking about the play calling was different in the early portion of the season, and then there were adjustments from inside the room. How did things change as the season progressed?
It's a good question, and I think really the main thing, if you look at it, is the aggressiveness of the play calling. Matt sort of got on the same page with Mitch and started trusting him more, or whatever it is. Our offensive line sort of blocked a little better, and you started seeing some balls go down the field. Now, is it where we want to be? Absolutely not. I think we're like second to last in the league in total offense, second to last in the league in points. That's really not an Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson type offense. Right. So I think there was an ownership really the last 8 weeks of the season of Mitch and the offense. I felt like the relationship between Matt and Mitch got a lot stronger as the season went on. They started spending way more time together. And really at any level, the relationship between the play caller and the quarterback is probably the most important on the football team.
And then any position too. Sorry, Trey, right? Sorry. This is now the time of self-scouting, right? Yeah. This is now the time for every position on the field to look back at what they did and say, okay, now how can I improve going forward?
Exactly. And I know, when we sort of found out, and it was a weird feeling when we weren't going to be in the playoffs. We found out after week 14,
Right.
after week 15. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. We're not used to it. That's not what we want to be accustomed to. But that was sort of like, all right, let's finish out these 2 games strong. And then we can't wait to get to the offseason in terms of breaking down what we have done well, breaking down what we have done bad, stuff that maybe we need to get more into, schemes that we need to, copy. Maybe it's Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, right, with running,
Right.
Stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for them.
And I think it's important to point out, as Chase Daniels here with us, it's easy to look at the quarterback and say, hey, the offense is struggling. It's all the quarterback's fault. I do a weekly hit in Chicago with Waddle and Sylvie, and it seems like every was a Mitch-ometer. Where are we on Mitch?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's more than that. I mean, as someone that's a part of that offense, to say the offense not producing points is all on the quarterback is incorrect.
Yeah, there's no question. Listen, we had some issues with our run game really the whole entire season. Whose fault is that? I'd really have to go back and watch the film, but it seemed like a culmination of
No, you need to tell us
everyone
whose
coming
fault it
together.
is right now. This is right. You need to tell us right now.
we know,
By
like anything
player,
else.
by name,
Yeah,
exactly what's
I think
happening.
We understand there's a lot of people have to, take fault for it. It's not just one thing.
And there's no
Never
question
is.
about that. And so, listen, it's going to be a big offseason in terms of breaking down really what went wrong and fixing it.
All right, so that is who is with us here this morning. Again, he mentioned Andy Reid. He mentioned Doug Peterson because he's played in both of those offenses. And again, as we said,
Also, was with the Saints when they have a little Super Bowl, huh?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.